Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Little different. Let's see. I'm still checking out things, so pardon me while I'm still trying to see where I'm at over on the Dan Lutz channel. It does appear that I'm online. That's a good sign. But it does say Dank Live 151. That's a technical difficulty, isn't it? All right. Hello, everybody. I know it says Dank 151. There's so many settings, right? And since YouTube has changed how these things are being done, I get a double echo over. I got an echo over here too. Let's see, where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? Oh, I know where it is. There. Oh, I got it. I was looking for that on the other side, and I couldn't find it. Okay, apparently we are streaming. I know it says dank line. It's because whatever YouTube did, it's made this very difficult. I think they're going to try. Like I'm using Zoom, right, to do the broadcast. They don't want me to use Zoom, right? So something that used to work is no longer working. So pardon me about that. And screen resolution seems to be a bit odd as well. I wonder if I make this bigger, if it will actually make the other screen larger. Let me turn on my camera as well. There's also this full screen mode. Let's see. Oh yeah, that did make it bigger on the video. Well, hello everybody. So now I know at least that's on. Now I did try a simulcast, but I was getting a weird echo situation, a reverb going between the two computers. Tried to minimize it, but it still kept happening. So, hello. I'm welcome to WWG1WGA.love Frontlines. Little hiccups, whenever technology changes, everyone has to adapt, and we end up, playing games here. So again, the simulcast on two channels was what I was just trying to do. I had to shut down the other one because too much time to figure it out, right? And we will see. So I'm gonna okay. Let's see where we're gonna start here. Now I've been going over the Q drops, and I think it's kind of important to keep up on that. So we are going to go right into Qanon. But before that, I'm going to just say there is to be a declassification announcement that's coming, and it was supposed to happen Wednesday. Right? So of course it's Thursday for me, and for my scouring the news, nothing like that happened. So this is a very common practice with Q, is to give these dates, right? And everything seems like it's going to be ready to break, and it was very much seeming like that was it. And then nothing happens that day. But what this tactic is all about is getting the deep state to use ammunition, use some of their events that they have queued up in order to divert the attention, right, to fill the mainstream media bandwidth up with something else, so that there is a competing story or two to diminish the impact that let's say the declass was going to happen. Now I watched X-22 report. There was only one story that came out that seemed to have any kind of push on it at all towards that, and that was about major power outages that could come from a solar event. All right, massive storm. We don't know, but it's happening over these next 2 days. Well, that's an all of a sudden story, isn't it? Hey, watch this now. According to the solar, I used to watch closely the solar satellites and what they were doing and looking at what they're able to do, and they're able to predict these things much more heads up than that, right? So this is obviously one of those attempts to say, well, there could be power outages. So anyway, that's what I think that is all about. Now I'm gonna let me see if I can see where we've left off here. Now, how many Q posts? Now I know that that my screen was not being shared yesterday when I went over the Q post, and it's really a question of should I go back over all the other ones? No, the video finally made it up on YouTube. I thought it was the lost episode because I know people couldn't see it, and they were saying, and then later it popped up, so it's there. But it does show a black screen. Whenever I shared my screen, everyone only saw black. So we're going to be trying this now again right here and see if we can get this to share screen. And I want you to tell me in the chat whether or not you're able to see this. Okay, I'm now sharing my screen. I'm appearing, for me, I got a little window up in the upper corner that says I'm here. All right. Now let me float back over to this. All right. So can everyone see my screen in the chat room? I'm looking right now at the chat room. Let me know what's going on. Can you see my shared screen? And there's a 7-second delay or something like that before you hear what's in it. So Diane says no. I have two programs on right now, Live and Dan Live Video at the same time. Nope, you're frozen. I'm frozen? Well, I know that I'm frozen on the screen, but do you see the chat room on the screen that I'm presenting on video, not the part of your window chat room. We still see a still pic of you. I know that it's still there. I mean, if I push play over here, I'm going to be moving again. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying, can you see my screen? If I go over to Q Maps, that's in the way. Do you see Q Maps right now? But I can't see what you're saying as I'm on Q Maps page. So I'm going to go back over, and you need to tell me whether or not you see Q Maps right now, not when I'm over on the page. So I'm going to go back now. So remember, just tell me, did you see this Q Maps page, right, with the green frog and the fly on Obama and Hillary? I'm going back over. All right, no Q Maps, no maps, no chat. Well, isn't that special? It's not seen. So let me try something else now. I see now this. Let me try it. No, this is going to be very difficult if I have to do it this way. But I think I may find a solution here. So let me take a scene 2. This is in the OBS software that I'm using for streaming. Let me add a source. Window capture. See something. If I go over like this, sorry, Sorry, I'm getting, just got to figure this out. And you're my test group. Hmm. All right. I think I've got it. There we go. Well, I'm going to flip back over now. I think that you are seeing what I'm showing. Just make sure. Okay. Okay, now, okay, you see it. Yes, Q showing. All right. All right. Well, that's interesting. So when I'm sharing through Zoom, which I'm having that Zoom screen go out, when I share screen, it goes to another screen. I have to have another screen set up. Now, here's the question. Do you see right now me talking, and it's the video page with the chat, or do you see QMAP right now? What do you see? Ah, see, only QMAP. So I have to, if I want to change pages this way, I literally have to create a new scene to show you. All right, at least I know. Okay, I got it now. All right, I'm back over to QMaps myself so I can see what's going on. All right, so now I can't see what you're saying, but I'm gonna just continue. Phil, let me see if I can. I gotta maneuver here a little bit. Get some. Okay, and now let's see. Where did we leave off yesterday? Oh, that looks familiar. Yeah, how did we gonna? Yeah, we covered that. We did this logical cue. Yeah, that's a double logical cue. Yeah, we did the flies. Godfather 3. That's I think where we left off. Yes, and now we've only got 3 posts since then. All right, so we'll start off right here. Thanks for bearing with me. So this is Q post 3564. Secret text casts light on UK's early role in Trump-Russia inquiry. Okay, let's go to The Guardian. Link over here. Okay. I'm okay with that. All right, got that all out of the way. All right, secret text casts light on UK's early role in Trump-Russia inquiry. Now, is there a date on this? Tuesday, July 30th. Okay, so just a couple days ago. Okay, senior MI5 and FBI officials shared concerns about our strange situation in 2016. Huh. They have a strange situation. They've never seen this before, right? An outsider from the people coming into their midst. And that's why they've been such a problem, right? So it starts off, 2 of the most senior intelligence officials in the US and UK privately shared concerns about our strange situation. As the FBI launched its 2016 investigation into whether Donald Trump's campaign was colluding with Russia, The Guardian has learned. Text messages between Andrew McCabe and Deputy Director of the FBI at the time, and Jeremy Fleming and his counterpart at MI5, now the head of GCHQ, also revealed their mutual surprise at the result of the EU referendum, which some U.S. officials regarded as a wake-up call, according to persons familiar with the matter. While Russia had previously been viewed as a country that would seek to interfere with Western elections, the Brexit vote was viewed by some within the FBI as a sign that Russian activities had possibly been successful, the person said. Their exchange offer new insights into the start of the FBI's Russia investigation and how FBI British intelligence appears to have played a key role in the early stages. In one exchange in August 2016, Fleming noted, it's like Ian Fleming, right? That made James Bond. That's very curious, right? Fleming noted that the members of the FBI and MI5 had met on our strange situation and veiled references to discussions about Russian activities according to the source. Text messages between the two men were infrequent and cryptic and did not contain specific sensitive materials, but occurred with some regularity after referendum of 2016. A spokesperson for McCabe declined to comment. The exchange underscored the sensitive issues in the U.S., namely the role of foreign intelligence services played and the FBI's decision to initiate an investigation into the Trump campaign. On July 31st, 2016, the FBI opened a covert counterintelligence investigation, codenamed Crossfire Hurricane, into the presidential candidate's possible collusion with Russia. The investigation was eventually taken over by the special counsel Robert Mueller, who said there were multiple systematic efforts to interfere in our election by Russia. Mueller's 448-page report did not establish a criminal conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia, but did identify incidents in which Trump attempted to obstruct justice in an investigation and did not clear the president of wrongdoing. The U.S. and U.K. intelligence agencies frequently shared information, but the exchanges between McCabe and Fleming appear to reflect the desire for a direct line of communication, given that it was seen as a developing problem on both sides of the Atlantic. In his text about August 16th meeting, Fleming appeared to be making a reference to Peter Strzok, a senior FBI official who traveled to London that month to meet Australian diplomat Alexander Downer. Downer had agreed to speak with FBI about Trump campaign advisor George Papadopoulos, who also told him that Russia had dirt on Hillary Clinton, the Democrat nominee in their race. The meeting was first reported by the New York Times. When Boris Johnson, the UK Foreign Secretary at the time, was asked in November 2017 whether Russia had played a role in British elections, he told MPs in a selected committee that he had not seen any evidence of such occurrence. When asked to follow up if the Russians had sought to play a role, Johnson said, "I don't know, but sought to play, but as far as I know, they played no role." The new revelation came as authorities in the UK are investigating the funding behind the pro-Brexit campaign and whether it may have included illegal foreign donations. The National Crime Agency, NCA, is investigating in the insurance executive and political donor Aaron Banks, who is suspected by the UK's Electoral Commission of not being the true source of the £8 million funding to leave the EU campaign. The matter was referred to the NSA by commissions after it had reasonable grounds for suspect a number of criminal occurrences. Banks said there was no Russian money, no interference behind the £8 million he gave to an unofficial Brexit campaign. The Guardian reported in 2017 that the British spy agency played a crucial role in alerting their counterparts in Washington to the contacts between a number of Trump campaign's team. Russian intelligence operatives at GCHQ became aware in the late 2015 of suspicious interactions between figures connected to Trump and known or suspected Russian agents. A source close to the UK intelligence said the intelligence was passed to the U.S. as part of a routine exchange of information, they said. Strzok and almost every senior FBI official who was involved in the initial Trump investigation had since left the FBI, including McCabe. In many cases, they were dismissed by Trump's officials. Drain the swamp. Officials ostensibly for related reasons. Fleming was elevated to head the GCHQ in 2017. During this period, senior officials at MI5, Fleming served as director for intelligence collection and led MI5's presentation for the 2012 Olympics. He was appointed deputy director of MI5 in 2013. All right. So that's basically, saying that this is going back quite a ways, right? For them to suspect things were going on between Trump, right? So where did this information come from, right? That came from Downer, right? And why and who is Downer? Well, this goes back to what looks to be, and if I remember correctly, these classes that were to cover espionage that were taking place in Australia, being hosted by another gentleman that I'm missing his name, but he was actually really connected to the Russians, right? Anyway, okay. Now I went through this article. I'm going to go back over to the dashboard. Now, can you? Oh, I got to see. So I'm seeing on my live high streams from there. Do you see it on the Dank Live channel? Yes, you do. Okay. So I am able to switch screens, and you're able to see because I've made up a separate one. I got it now. All right. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, 3565. George Papadopoulos' first demonstrable proof that there was no collusion coming today. Here's a Twitter post from George Papadopoulos. I see the Guardian article. How do you get ahead of the story? Coincidence? So yes, they put out the story so they can try and manage what is coming out. So what did George Papadopoulos have to say? So they're trying to cover their tracks saying, oh yeah, we've reported on that already before the information comes out. But it's coming out right now. You can also, what was the date on that article? This is the 30th, right? So they put this out because they know something is going to be coming out. So what did George Papadopoulos say? Transcripts are out tomorrow. Okay, that would be the case. First demonstrable proof to show that not only did we not conclude, but the whole world was against us. Donald Trump still won in 2016. When it's all said and done, the story will be a global effort to take us down that backfired big time. There we go. There you go, George. Vindication. They sent him to jail for 2 weeks. Said, you lied to us. You said that you ordered that pizza on Tuesday, and really it was on Wednesday. Something to that effect. Okay, next post, 3566. 24-hour false flag alert. There you go. Deep State attempt to deflect news from damaging their narrative. 24-hour warning in brackets. Be vigilant. See something, say something. Know your surroundings at all time. All right, so now it is in this 24-hour period. Has anything happened as of yet? I do not know. So, what can we say? We know that this declassification is going to come out in drips and drabs. It's not going to be a big fell swoop. It's all about bringing. I'll stop the screen share. It's all about bringing everyone up to speed on what's actually been happening. It's because the mainstream media has this constant drumbeat of Russian collusion and everything else, bad Trump. Now it's racist Trump, racist Trump, racist Trump, racist Trump. And what did Trump do? He jumped right into the fray with Cummings, right? And helping a majority black city, right? Saying, oh, look at all the rats, look at all of the horrible conditions, the high murder rate, And Cummings has been there for 28 years. What have you done? And by the way, Trump approved $15 billion for the city last year. Where is the money? So he's getting all of this respect from the Boston, from the Baltimore residents. They're saying finally, someone is paying attention to what's going on here. When there's so much loss of hope in that city, right, and so much despair, and all the trash, and all of the shootings and everything. There's people that are leaving in droves. Even though the people are leaving in droves, the murder rate is actually outpacing the rest of the country in murders. I think it's number 3. But with all those people leaving, who's going to move there, right? It's going to be a ghost town. 17,000 abandoned structures. So anyway, they're on their train to basically, say Trump is a racist, Trump is a racist, Trump is a racist. And Trump is jumping right back in at them and saying, let's look at what you guys are doing here. And then he called out the other liberal cities, right, that are out there, and look at the state they're in. Under liberal control, Democrat control, look what is happening. And where did the money go, right? So that's the corruption. So what is going to happen with Cummings? He's on the chopping block, right? He is there, going to be now having to justify this. Now he sits on as the chairman of the Oversight Committee, and the Oversight Committee has one job, thanks to Nancy Pelosi, because she's the Speaker of the House. She gave him one thing to oversee, and you know what that was? The White House and Russian collusion. No other job. And Trump, I think, is pointing out and saying, so Cummings, why are you not putting your powerful committee and looking into what's going on in Baltimore? He's saying, where's the $15 billion we sent there yesterday? Relatively yesterday, last year. Where is it? Emergency funds, were also sent. Where did that go? Has it been used for catching the rats, cleaning up the city, removing the trash? I was watching Hannity. Hannity was saying not one student that has graduated from the high schools is proficient in math. Not one can do math. I mean, that is atrocious. And that's where all of these are going. They have sold out America. Any money that flows out, they just grab, send off to their friends and whatever. And then they were planning for the whole thing to crash. And they're going to sit on top of the garbage heap. Of course, they'll be in New Zealand at that time, letting everyone else, now the second B team, come in and deal with all the problems with no money because the economy collapsed. And it's a third world country. And they escaped all to New Zealand. What a horrific plan, right? All right. Well, so let me go over to our chat now. I'm flip over there, see if I'm actually seeing this. Okay, still over there. Okay, now I'm seeing this. All right, I'm going to zoom in. You know, I'm on my big screen, so much easier, bigger resolution. There we go. Aloha, Nate. We're going to get to the chat going on here. It's not escalating. There we go. It's going slow. So, if you have a question, put the Q, and then the question afterwards. We've got time today. Not too many Q posts. no, it's still catching up with everything. I'm going to switch this over to the live chat. Now let's see if I can go up to the top here. I think I'm going to be missing something. It's like it's too close in. All right. Okay, I got it now. Good evening, everybody. All right. Aloha, Judy, Amber, Chase. Let's see. QMAPs. Whoa, whoa! He got away from me. My goodness. Scroll area. Now I can also send out the link. Why don't I try that? I'm going to give you the link for coming on Zoom. All right. Let's see how it happens. Get some people come on Zoom. I can post this now. I got to get to the bottom, don't I? That's too big. I gotta cut off some of this, right? Okay, that's to join the Zoom. If you want to use a phone number, also do that, but I've got to, in order to copy and paste this in, I've got to do it in a couple of segments. Let me just take off this part. That might do it. Yeah, that does it. There we go. That's if you need to use a phone. So you can call in by phone, or you can click on the Zoom link. There we go. Some questions. Oh, someone is jumping on. Let me just get this one question I saw there. Why are these people still walking around? From M. Carlson. The reason is that everybody is asleep. They're in a zombie-like controlled situation where you just can't pick up everybody. Here's 100,000 sealed indictments. We're now going to arrest 500,000 people and put them in jail. And everyone is going to freak out. But if they wake up the people, now we just got to the point where Trump is in control and could go on the offense just the month of June. And so we're now at the point where we see that things are starting. In QAnon, way back when, we were talking about the keystone. We were all over the place what the keystone is. The keystone to this, that holds this whole thing up, is pedophilia. And the picture of that, I would have made a meme, put the Jeffrey Epstein in the middle of the keystone. that would have been it. Waking up people takes time, and it's going to be happening much faster. So. Okay, so I'm over to my screen now. I'm looking at Joshua Conway. Hello, Joshua. Hello, Joshua.
Hey, Dan, I'm just listening in, bud.
Oh, okay. Well, you're welcome to do that. You look like a friend of mine from your photo.
Do I?
Yeah. His name was Scott Sutherland. I haven't seen him in quite a long time, but...
well, I hope he was a good friend.
Yeah. We worked. He was my chief technology officer in one of my companies. So
Oh, nice.
so
Yeah, I don't believe I wear that that smart enough badge to be a chief technical officer. Maybe operations, but technical.
well,
I do my best.
yeah. Everyone has their own forte. That's okay. So okay,
That's right.
I'll put you in charge of operations. Are you ready to get started?
I like it. Let's do
Okay.
it.
All right. So
We'll make it happen.
all right. So we have the wwg1wga.love website, and we have a structure set there. We have to fill it
Right?
with content. How do we go about it?
How do we fill out the content?
Yeah, because it's divided up into categories. The mission is
Right.
to get all the information of all the different front lines that we're on, and lay it out in these categories so people will be able to focus in on like one thing. So if they're focused on, let's say, the deep state religion of communism, socialism, fascism, and sadism, where's all the information? Where do we post that? It's all here in this one section that people can talk about it in the forums, and so that's how it's broken down into forums, and then there's also a blog associated with that, and it's a membership site. Have you joined that site yet?
I've not. I've checked it out, but I hadn't jumped on and became a member yet.
Okay. Well, you should at least do that. Since you're the chief of operations now.
Yes. Yeah. Well, now that I have have that title, I feel obligated. I got to go do that. So
Yeah. See,
I'll make sure to do that before the end of the night, CEO.
All right, that's good. Sorry, putting you on the spot there, right?
Yeah.
So now no one else is going to want to hit these links because they're going to be drafted.
That's right. Well, my theory is, everything happens for a reason. So you must have hit the link and jumped on to become your chief operating officer.
There you go.
Yeah. So, I guess that's what we're going to do.
All right. Well, that'll be a really big help.
Well,
we can definitely discuss how it works, how best to do things. But we've got some very good posters of articles in the Telegram group. So it's a good feeding source, right? So those posts are coming in there, and getting them now posted into the actual forums that they belong in, right? Is by category, I guess. So that's the main goal there. So we can identify these sections and then get people. Some people are going to be on the pedophilia. Revealing things about pedophilia, that will have one section, right? And that's where people will find it. There's the financial system. Here's an interesting thing I found out today. The Fed dropped the discount rate by 0.25%.
I saw that.
So
by 0.25%, right?
As 0.25%, that's a fairly big drop. They usually go in 0.1, not 0.25. So 1 basis point is a normal drop, but now they did 2.5. So I'm curious about that because the Fed is supposedly now defunct and not able to do anything. So how are they able to drop that rate? Tank has said that that Kim has basically
tied their hands and revoked their
charter,
right?
Or their charter was already expired, but I guess foreclosed on them or whatever the things were. But it'd be interesting to get an update on what happened there, because this is something that is brand new.
It is, and I was my thought was somebody had to twisted their arm into this because. Typically what they do is we're in the situation now where they would naturally or historically, however you want to look at it, raise the rate. So for them to lower it, and the way Trump's kind of been hounding them about how they've increased the rate, I'm curious, what led that conversation or led that decision, and how they were, in my opinion, forced to do it.
Right. I was actually reading something here. There was a chart. Let me go ahead and share my screen and take a look at this. This is an article. Where did it go? Here we go. This is showing how the Fed rate has been cut right here, the very end of where 2019. But this, as soon as Trump took office, they started this massive increase of the rate, right?
Yeah.
And now this
trying to slow things down. Yeah.
Well, they wanted to crash the economy, right? So Trump was in a race, right, to get things started back up, right? And so he did a really good job of getting things started back up. But look at the Obama years, right here.
Oh, we were at 0%. I mean, they're giving away money.
Yeah, it was almost negative, right? They actually consider going negative, and that means
they give negative. Did they not? Are they still negative?
I don't know if they went negative. I know that Japan went negative, and what that means is when you borrow money, they give you more than you borrowed is one way to look at it, or you borrowed money and you have to pay back less.
Right.
Whichever way you want to look at it, but that's the negative interest rate. So.
Well, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong here, Dan. If we were to federalize the reserve, all right, and bring it into the umbrella of the government, then they would not be loaning us money at that point. Any money that would be printed wouldn't be paid back. It would just be capped on the values or the assets that we have attached to it. Correct?
Yeah, so it would be nationalized.
There you go. That's the term.
So basically taken in under the U.S. Treasury, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, has it already occurred? I think that may have already occurred. That has also happened to the IRS.
Sure.
Where that had happened a couple of years ago, as far as I'm concerned. And that's when the IRS agents actually, are now being paid by the U.S. Treasury. So this is something that is underway. So
sure.
I think that we're going to see a lot more things happening where it's going to make the Fed keep looking like they're responding to Trump. So Trump has been trolling them, saying you got to drop the rate, you got to drop the rate, you got to drop the rate. But they want to act independent, right? They don't want to just do what Trump says. So now
I don't want to be told it.
Yeah, in that article, I read the article about it, and it says that their reason for dropping the rate is because of there's uncertainty in the marketplace because of Trump's tariffs. And
the marketplace really doesn't show that, does it? I mean,
no, it doesn't.
All-time highs.
Right.
2 weeks ago?
Yeah, and people are not upset at all about the situation. No one's worried about it. What's happening? Everyone will say, "Well, it's going to affect the consumer's price, and the prices of things are going to go up." And it doesn't happen that way, and it hasn't happened. So what actually is happening is the middleman is who's taking the hit, right? So the middleman now takes less money, but he doesn't want to disturb his customers, right, and start raising their rates, right? Because he's in competition with other middlemen. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So if he started to raise his rates, then he'll lose his customers. So he doesn't do that, right? So he takes the hit. So the U.S. customers didn't get affected at all. So
I would say that if it was a prolonged, period of time, I believe we would see some kind of increases because that's the natural course of the supply and demand, right? So
yeah, it would, but you have to see though that let's say it was a 1% effect on the price of something, right?
Sure.
Let's say it's 1%. That 1% is on the middleman. So when the middleman is now selling it to the retailer or the distributor, right? The distributor, has to pay 1% more Okay, I mean,
Hmm.
no, he's not paying anything, right? Because but let's say over time the price goes up a little bit. All right, uh, but is it now going to be passed on to now the retailer, right? And if it's passed on to
Hmm.
the retailer, are they going to want to raise their price? I mean, they're at 99.99, for this item. Are they going to make it $10.05? Right?
Right.
They're not going to do that. So it's very much separate. It's really the countries that are going to take the hit, or the middlemen that are in those countries, right? But in the case,
Sure. That makes sense.
yeah. So we're not really going to see this on the tariff side, really affecting us in a really dramatic way. So
No, and I think China is just doing their best to push off a trade agreement until they can be for certain that Trump wins again. Which I don't know how they're certain. Right now that he's going to win again because everybody else that's worth their salt knows he is.
And Trump is playing
Yeah.
hardball, and he says if you guys wait until after the election to make a deal, it'll be much worse for you. And I would
Exactly.
believe him. I believe him. Because here's the thing: Trump doesn't need
Yeah.
China. We don't need China. That's the point. He made those deals with
Right.
the other Asian countries, Vietnam and Philippines, and all these other countries will be happy to take the manufacturing jobs if it's very labor intensive, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And and if they don't, I think the biggest point to the whole tariffs is we're not going to see an increase. One, because of what you stated about the middleman taking it, and two, because we've lowered the corporate tax rate, and we're taxing now our companies to bring their stuff from China back into America. So now they're shutting down their manufacturing plants to come back here because now it makes more business sense.
Right.
So manufacture your product here or in a country that we have a trade agreement.
Right.
I mean, it's brilliant. And I think most of everything else you hear about us paying for it is just scare tactics to try to get people to not support it.
That's for sure. Definitely about their whole thing is about scare tactics, right? That's it. It's about
Absolutely.
The only thing they know how to do is to scare us, right? But now I think they're the ones that are scared. I mean, this is.
They should be.
It's like, okay, the front lines of what I was talking about earlier is like, now that Trump is going after the liberal cities, right? He took on the highest ranking black congressman, right? Cummings, right? And so of course they're going to call him a racist,
Yeah.
but everyone in the city of Baltimore is like cheering Trump. So is that going to be
Exactly.
anyone there thinking he's a racist? No, right? And so it's just it's appealing to it's like falling on deaf ears. They've heard it so much that everyone's going to be tone deaf to the word racist. It won't mean a thing. It would be like calling the sky.
That and it's true. They can holler racist however they want to holler, right, Dan? But the fact of the matter is that the people are going to determine whether a politician is racist or not. So if what they're spouting is true and they can have an effect, a positive effect, and it's absolutely not racist, and they're just using that to try to push back, then that's going to come out. I mean that's just the nature of Trump, the Trump world that we're in. Because if anybody else was in office, they would have just backed down and ran away with the tail between their legs. But they can't do it to Trump, and I don't know why they haven't figured that out. But they're going to try.
Okay, yeah, exactly. But their trying is going to start sounding very odd, right? Because it's like he's going after this majority black city and the corruption inside there, right? And saying this shouldn't be this way. People shouldn't have to live like this. The people coming from Honduras, who are trying to escape really worse conditions. If they ended up in Baltimore, they would be in worse conditions. So,
Right.
so making the point about this is like, all he's got to do is shine a light everywhere, and we're in all these different fronts that he's taking them on, is like across the board. I mean, every single area You can say on the geopolitical with the main foes in the world, Russia, North Korea, and Iran. Those are the bad guys. Okay, he's making
Yeah.
peace with all of them, right? And I saw Pompeo in testifying about the deals with the that not deals, but the conversations that Trump had with Putin, and what that was all about, and they're trying to find out the information. He's not revealing any of the conversation, or they're trying to grill him on it. But this just goes to see that they want this wartime situation. And Pompeo said, the two largest amounts of nuclear weapons in the world are between Russia and the United States. You don't want to have a contentious relationship between these two countries. You want them to be friends.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, it's insanity to treat as these enemies that won't be able to get along and so on. When it comes down to it, we have a global enemy, and that's the deep state cabal financial system that has taken over. So we have the enemy. I called it Project Red Beam instead of Project Blue Beam. You know about Project Blue Beam?
Yes, yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, so it's like where the deep state was going to use an alien invasion to bring the world together under one world government, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to use Project Red Beam, the deep state cabal as the enemy for us to rise up against, and then have a decentralized world of separate countries, which is appropriate. We can, and the UN has to also go because it's set up in a way that is part of that enslavement system. It's part of a corporatocracy, right? One corporation owning other corporations owns all the other corporations and owns all the other corporations. So that it is it takes us away from being able to do things in our own country for our benefit, right? Which everybody should want to do, and then be friendly neighbors with fences.
With fences, that's right. Well, the fact of the matter is, Dan, that 99% of the people on the earth want to have a comfortable life, spend time with their family, and not stress over trivial BS. And it might even be the 99.8% of the population. But most people want that. There's only a few, and those few just happen to be the ones that are being taken out right now. So, we'll always have those in our society, but I do believe that that most people are generally good. Most of the people on the earth are generally good. They don't want to hurt anybody else, and they love their family, and they want to have a good and decent life. And I think there's more that brings us together than there is that divides us, and they know that, and they're scared of that.
Yeah, and the heart, the heart is what they've been removing from themselves, right? And hybriding people into having no care or feelings for other people, right? It's about being drones. Look at the direction they're trying to take us into, right? It's Borg, no heart, no feeling, no caring, and it's just do a job, right? Be part of the collective, and that is, if we want to look at what is looking through this black goo, it's an artificial intelligence. It's a crystalline structure that holds data, right? And I was into fiber optics way back when, even a very early age in my engineering career. I was dealing with fiber optics, and interesting thing was that everyone was working with this clear fiber optic, right? So they make it out of glass, and they were trying to get the highest clarity and everything. It turns out that you could actually transfer more data through black fiber, and they actually called it dark fiber. and that actually was deployed, but it was so expensive that it never, in our economic system, just because something is better doesn't mean it actually makes it into the hands of the public, because the economic model doesn't work out. It was so expensive to build out, you couldn't actually, have people pay for it because no one would buy it, right? Right. So instead of changing the time frame at which something has to be paid back over, right? To make it make it 50 years, right? Not 5, whatever But another example would be like, you ever remember satellite phones?
Oh yeah.
Right. So there was a company that was, when the first cell phones were kind of like just taking place. This is like, you know, I saw like when LA Cellular was bought up by AT&T, right? And then at that time frame, there was satellite phones, right? Now they were bigger, right? But there was a company out there that put up the satellites to make literally a satellite phone system, and the phones would be much smaller, more in line with the way everything else was, but it would be, worldwide. You'd be able to get a call anywhere. No towers, no nothing. But the expense of the phones and the expense of the service was like $1,000 a month, right? And so, well, if we get this many people and we're able to do this, they never were able to overcome that, right? So the satellites are still there. Someone came in and bought it off the bankruptcy, right? And so someone has that network. But it never made it into the hands of the people because the economic models didn't work. Same thing with the dark fiber. You know who ended up owning all the dark fiber? Google.
Who's that?
Google.
Imagine that.
Yeah. And so they would be, and it's like 100 times more bandwidth per fiber. So it's so much bigger amount of data you can transfer.
Sure.
I might be wrong. It might be 50 times, but it was something really big like that. I think with compression or something, you could get it higher, push more data.
Wow.
But anyway, I'm trying to remember.
Those are insane numbers.
Yeah. So, Google ended up buying it. And they were testing. Google was looking at putting free internet in cities, right? And that's how they would move the data on their dark fiber between the cities.
Yeah, I'm sure that they could probably. I would imagine they could probably use that for. I mean, they're such a big company; they could use that for their internal and long range data transfers, right? And then put it back on what do you call it? Dark, clear fiber? I guess is the difference. Can you go from one to the other?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think how they can benefit from it, right?
Yeah, well, obviously there's, going to homes, they have the clear fiber, right? And so that's fine.
Right.
Homes don't need more than that, right? I mean, how much can you actually, need, so, they...
Well, until I get a virtual reality room, I don't need that much, but, maybe one day. I have a hologram deck like I had on Star Trek.
Yeah, maybe we get to the hologram deck. That might you need more.
We might have to have some dark fiber.
But it's at that point we might be just not using fiber at all. It'd be quantum teleportation of data, which does exist. And I actually know someone who patented a technology for transmitting data through quantum space.
Wow!
So it's instantaneous, moving of data. I mean, actually, it's not even moving. The data doesn't move. The data just exists simultaneously in multiple places.
Wow! So as soon as it populates on one, it's there on the other.
Right. So it's just a matter of it vibrating into quantum space, and it is now where the antenna can pick it up. And there is basically an antenna. The antennas are actually crystal. Diamond actually is a very good way of going. Manufactured diamond crystals, which is cheap, right? It's just carbon.
Yeah, masonite, I think.
Right. So it's not something that is was very. It's not. It was easy manufacturing, all this, and I used to, actually give quite a lengthy conversation with people about training them about how that would function, so people have an idea on how this works. But uh, there's a lot of these suppressed technologies, and ones that are not do not make it because of the economics of it. So if someone now the guy that made the cell phone, right? This was an entrepreneur, right? Right. So he went out, he made a bunch of money, and then he used that money to create this next system. Fantastic system. Now, there's no reason that he shouldn't have been successful other than the system not allowing him to be.
Sure.
Right? Because he wasn't in the club. Right? So
Right.
so if it's not successful, the entrepreneur rolled the dice, and now it's now on the auction block. So this doesn't need to be. I mean, if you went out and built this system, you have an asset at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't you have an economic model that allows this to work, right? It's because the system is set up to condemn technologies and put them into mothball so that the people in power can pick them up. It's the vulture capital model.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's all about getting the use out of it. There can't be something out that they don't control. Is the thought behind it, right? Because if they can't control it or have some kind of leverage over it, then they're just not going to let it come out and flourish. In the end, it's all about control. And when we get these guys out of where they're sitting now, and we really get to start working here, that's really going to make the difference. We're going to be able to give. No, I mean, there's so many people with so many world-changing ideas and actual products out there that all they need is that step to production or mainstream, if you want to call it that, and that's how we're going to change the world. We're not going to, we just got to get them over thinking that they rule everything and really show them that they don't. And once we do that, it's generally over. Not too long after that, because all it takes is one getting out there and not being under their thumb, and then they're going to do the same and help other people, and then it's just going to be a domino, and they're going to be the one following.
Right. So, actually, someone just sent me a message. They were saying that there's a lot of military stuff going on today, and the rumors that Navy SEALs were attempting to smuggle some ISIS to take over. So, I don't know. Well, I guess Navy is a maritime law, so maybe that makes some sense.
Sure. Yeah.
That was just unusual. I'm just wondering if there's anything else going on. So it looks like we've got about 10 more minutes on our YouTube. So as soon as we start talking on YouTube, on Zoom with other people, with a third person, because I started with two on here, the two computers. The third person starts a timer, 40 minutes. So
I need to drop off.
No. Well, we got 10 minutes. It's okay. We'll wind it down. It was so no problem with just jumping off. We'll ride out the rest of the show.
Cool. I'll ride the wave with you, brother.
All right. Thank you. And I'm just looking at any more questions in the chat room while we're talking here. I think that's about it. So, but it was good that you joined in. And we can go over the website if you've got some time. We'll do another Zoom, and I'll show you what I'm talking about by going through. But all you got to do is go register.
Yeah, let's go.
All you got to do is go register, and then you'll be able to post in the forums and things like that. So we'll figure that out.
I'll get that done, bro. Absolutely. I think when I checked it out last, you were uh, you had just kind of, you had said you were doing it, you were building it for a while, and then you jumped on and were like, all right, I got it just about live, but I'm still working on a few things.
Yeah.
That was about the last time that I actually went on and looked.
Well, it was a major effort to get it out, right? Get it set up, and then
Yeah.
but it's the next major effort, the heavy lifting of actually putting content and things like that. I mean, it requires there to be people going to it, right? Also to interact. If that's happening, then there is it can expand, and it's also a very good place for. Whenever there's a show, right? We can do a synopsis of the show, put that out on the blog. The blog would go to their email and let them know. That means it's another form of notification. Right.
Right.
So there should be no reason they don't receive the email from this, and that way they're then notified they can go check out the video.
We're all the time informed, right? Or all the ways, I guess, however you want to look at it.
Right.
You're not just relying on one form of notification.
Right.
Am I understanding you correctly?
That's it. Because people, we have 350 or 360 some on the Where We Go One channel, YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And people are already unnotified. They were already taken off of subscription, already taken off of notification. So
really,
yeah, I was like, they didn't do it, so who's doing it? Right? It's YouTube, right? We're on the list. So, this channel is fighting to stay over 13,000 subscribers, right?
Yeah. Wow.
And I'm watching it just decrease to an hour, right? So I have to get 3 an hour to go up 1, right?
Man, it's crazy how much they're manipulating all this. I mean, I've noticed. So what I've noticed lately on YouTube, man, I watched one Fox News show, Sean Hannity or something that popped on my feed once. And now everything that's on my feed is all Fox News. And I clicked on one to show me how to cook a Scotch eggs, and I'm getting all these freaking cooked, and I'm not. None of that is what I've watched on YouTube for any length of time in the last probably 3 years. And all of a sudden I watch one video, and now it's the only thing in my feed ever.
Yep, that's it.
And so I got to go directly and kind of hunt for things, and it's so aggravating.
Yeah, it's just I know that there's some people who are saying that they want to reveal what the circumstances are for being banned. What are the bad words? How the filters work? This should be open and everyone should know what's going on. But no, they're keeping it hidden so that they have power over people. And
yeah, absolutely.
And the
control.
And the way I think that this should really happen, because I have had I was designing a system that was a social media network that would allow for people to decide for themselves. And so these filters and stuff should be offered to people to decide for themselves. Anything with pedophilia I don't want to see. Okay, knock it off, right? So they they're the one that add the filter, not YouTube, right? So you put it in the hands of the people. That's what it should happen. That's the way it should happen. Let the people decide.
Man, and it was awesome before. Anything that was on my feed was something that at any given day I could just let it run, and generally I wouldn't be disappointed in what I was listening to. Whether I bought it or is what it is, it was still in my wheelhouse, so to speak. And it was okay. But now it's I'm getting these what do you call them, bootleg Sean Hannity channels that don't know how to edit the videos, and they start. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
I know. I experienced exactly the same thing. Everything I have on my feed is all, some bootleg, Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, or Fox something or the other. And it's all Fox. I mean, everything is Fox News. I have to go hunting for the rest of the things, time after time.
Exactly. If I want anything, I got to go hunting. So it's aggravating, and to say the least. And I mean, I'm like, at least if I'm going to listen to you guys, like almost for the last week, every one of these that I've listened to, because I'm generally working at this time of night, but I managed to pay the conversion plan. So I don't have a lot of time just to go searching through everything and in the, 150 notifications that I get a new video. So, I just kind of scroll down my feed, but so I'll listen to it, and then, I'll get 2/3 of the way through Hannity, and then all of a sudden it'll start back over on Tucker Carlson. And I'm like, I was just getting to the good part of the Hannity show at the end where he really talks about everything, and you cut me off and put me back at Tucker, and it's all Fox, and I'm like,
Yeah, I know that. I've noticed that too. Some things
you're trapping me back into the cable.
Yeah, so I start wondering, did they actually edit out the part I was interested in? Was that actually part of this plan? So I mean, it is ridiculous what's going on. There is a SGT report put out a video just a couple days ago that's about this trade union that is like the metals union or something like that. But they're like the largest union in the world. That's what they've claimed, like 2.5 million members. And so they said they're taking on YouTube, and they're ready to do it. And they said, well, we're ready to talk, Otherwise, we're going to do these things. We're taking you to court, and we're going to make sure that if you're doing this to people, that means they're employees, and you are all of this back taxes 5 years for Social Security and everything for everyone on here.
Man, I hope they can get some traction with that. Really what needs to happen with all these big techs, and I know they've talked about it, they really need to break these guys up and ensure that you don't have the same cronies at the top of each one of the outfits that break up. I think Google needs to be broken up to 50 pieces.
I disagree. I completely disagree with this because every time because when these companies are broken up, the people that are in them that did all the bad things now get 10 times richer because they now own parts of all these other broken up companies, and there's no reason to break it up other than to get rid of this problem. But the problem can be it's better to keep it all together and fix the problem. And literally, the technology was stolen by from Leader Technology 17 years ago, or longer, and everything for social media that they have to be made whole. They're owed trillions of dollars. They're owed, right?
Wow.
And they offered to give control over the source code to Trump, right, so that he can beat them over the head with it.